Here we are with Bernie White. Bernie, that's a good Scottish name to start off with.
Yeah, it is. It is. Good, very good Scottish name.
You fit in Glasgow straight away. Give us your role. What is your role at FirstPoint USA?
Yeah, so my official title is talent management consultant, but it's a little different. So myself and my colleague Peter, we've kind of focused on the U.S. side of things. So we're managing the talent in the U.S. basically. So the players that come from our partner clubs. So I'm focused on right now Boston Bolts, New York Red Bulls, Cincinnati. So some great clubs from the U.S. with some really good, talented players coming through. So it's been a pleasure working with them so far.
And you born and bred in the U.S. and you went to college over there?
So not born. I was actually born over in the UK, which is why I'm able to come back now.
Which is why you're called Bernie.
Which is why I'm called Bernard. But I was born in Liverpool and then moved to the US when I was young. So
I was going to say that's not a Scouser accent.
No, I don't have it. I wish I still had my Scouse accent, but I lost it when I moved over. And I mainly grew up in Austin, Texas. So that's kind of where I really started to play soccer seriously. Went to middle school and high school there, and a great place to grow up.
Yeah, it's a lot more natural for you to say soccer than it was for Peter.
I know. Peter's converted already though. I managed to get him.
I know. I've heard. Talk to me. You went to Amherst?
Amherst, yeah.
Amherst College. How you pronounce it. Talk to us about Amherst.
Yeah, so Amherst is a Division III school. So obviously within the NCAA, you got Division I, Division II, Division III, and Division III schools tend to be a lot more academically focused. So when I was kind of going through the recruiting process, I had a few options at each division that I was talking to, and at the end of the day, I really wanted to prioritize academics. And Amherst kind of allowed me to find the best fit of like a really still a top soccer program, a program that's had a lot of success and won a lot of games, but also being able to get a top education. So I went on a visit there, loved it, and it just seemed like a great fit. So I really enjoyed my time there.
And the pathways that you guys are sort of delving into at the moment is look at MS clubs and academy players that don't quite make it, and then you find a place for them in scholarships in colleges. Was that a similar path you took, or did you just
No, so so the club I played for growing up in Austin was called Lone Star Soccer Club, so it wasn't affiliated with an MLS academy. And so the end goal for a lot of us was to play college soccer and kind of use soccer to continue our education, versus now I think the landscape has changed a bit. So like with the MLS clubs now, the focus is to get a professional contract for a lot of the kids from a young age.
Yeah.
But I think where we can kind of come in and provide value is helping out the kids who do want to pursue that educational path, or realize they're not going to have a big professional career, and want to kind of secure their future by getting a degree. So it's been interesting for me to kind of see that shift, being from the U.S. and growing up there. So but for me to be involved with being able to give advice and help kids and families through that process and provide them with good opportunities has been great. And
you talk about that academical focus that you had. You wanted to go to Amherst because of the academic route.
Yeah.
I guess you see kids coming through the other way around. They want to pursue sport first, and that's sort of a secondary. For you, it was important to get that right first, and then the sport would come with it.
Yeah, I think I come from a very academically driven family, and so it was a big thing for me to get my degree and go somewhere that was going to give me a good education. But at the same time, I think sometimes people think with Division III and these academically focused schools, you're missing out on a good sports experience. But that's definitely not the case. At Amherst, like the program was run like a top Division I program. Like the standards, the expectations, the training, the intensity, and the coaching we got was top notch. So I feel like I really got the best of both worlds as well. What
other sports were big at Amherst then?
Yeah, so I mean, we had all the typical American sports that you'd think. So we had basketball, baseball, American football. We actually had a club rugby team as well. Okay. So that was quite a big sport at Amherst. But a lot of successful sports teams. So great experience as a student athlete going and watching the basketball games, watching the football games, and kind of getting that American college experience as well.
And you talk about this obviously being such a big academic school, but then facility-wise for sports, for soccer in general, what were they like? Were they next level?
Yeah, I mean the facilities were great. Like we had amazing pitches. We had a grass pitch, which was our main game pitch, and then we also had I think it was my junior year there. We had a brand new Astro pitch put in, so that was like a top level facility, for us to use and kind of have that option. If we couldn't train on the grass, we'd have a great backup. And then, the athletic building, they put a lot of money into that while I was there as well, and did some upgrades on it. And, it was a great place to be, good access to weights and good locker room and stuff. So.
What was the biggest sport though there? What was the the big
Well,
one?
I would like to say men's soccer was the big one.
So what sort of crowds would you get to that?
I mean, so our pitch, being Division III, it's not, you're not really going to see these big stadiums like you might see at a top Division I school. So we, our field didn't really have many like built up stands. But for some of the big games, we'd have, it was kind of cool. We'd have like the whole pitch just surrounded by people standing, whether it's like, students, families. I think we had one game. It was our senior day, and it was a visiting students weekend. So kids who were potentially going to come to Amherst were visiting with their families. And it looked like there was like everybody who was on campus came to the game. It was just like the whole pitch was surrounded by people standing. So it was kind of a cool environment to play in.
That's really important, I suppose, for some of the kids that are looking to go to these colleges, and FirstPoint will help, give them a route and say, this is what you get at this college, this is what you'll get at this college. Yeah. And so it's a case of not being put off by, this isn't the biggest school, but
100%.
The facilities and everything there and what's on offer is second to none.
Yeah, and I think, that's been a big thing for me, just talking with a lot of these kids and families. Even myself, up until, my junior year of high school, I always kind of thought, Division I was what I wanted. It sounds great, it's it's what everyone kind of aspires to. But then when I really started looking at the options, you just realize how many great schools there are out there. And in the U.S. there's thousands of colleges, and there's going to be somewhere that's a good fit for everybody. So me kind of having that Division III background, I can talk to families about that, and I feel like when I can kind of explain that process and explain the benefits to going to a smaller school maybe where you can have more focus on you as a student. It's just, I definitely enjoy giving that advice and that feedback to people who are looking at colleges.
For me, if I was a parent and a family of one of these players that's maybe in an academy at the moment that's looking at it going, they might not make it, to have you come and sit down and actually talk about how important the academic side is, must be really refreshing for a parent. Yeah. They want their kids to, at forefront, be thinking about their academic route, thinking about their studies, and then sport afterwards. So
definitely.
Is that something you definitely weigh in on when you're speaking to parents and families?
100%. I mean, I had a call last week with one of our clients, and it was funny that the kid, I was asking kind of, he's very young still, so it was just that introduction conversation of like, what are you kind of looking for in your college experience? And the first thing the kid mentioned was, I want to go to the best soccer school possible, like all facilities, best, the best team possible. And the parents chimed in and said, he's also a really good student. Like, we would love for him to be able to use that, and get a good degree and stuff. So you definitely do see that. Obviously, you can't blame, high school kids. They don't have a very long outlook. But I think it's important that people like me and Peter who are working with these kids have their best interests in mind, and kind of let them know that they can set themselves up for their future basically by getting a good degree and using their academics to the best of their advantage.
Who, for you in sort of the college, if you were looking for just purely soccer, the best soccer team out there in the college system, who is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the ACC conference is kind of, if you look at the Division I landscape, they kind of dominate things. The North Carolinas, Clemson, kind of the big names like UCLA in the Pac-12, Stanford. They've all, have incredible reputations, have won national championships recently. And yeah, their facilities would definitely be a bit of an upgrade to the Division III experience. Right. But yeah, that's a lot of those guys are going there with the mindset of going professionally after as well. So.
What sort of crowds do they attract? What sort of
they'd get good crowds. They have nice stadiums. They'd probably get a couple thousand to a game. Right. And then you see the College Cup in Division I. They'll hold it at a nice facility, and you definitely get a good crowd of that as well.
You're the other way round from Peter. He's obviously European, Scottish-based football, and then going over there. Who's your team over here? Who's your Scottish team? Have you got a Scottish
team I
team
support? I try to keep out of that, to be honest. Obviously, being born in Liverpool, I'm a Liverpool fan. I try to keep, living in Glasgow, I try to stay away from the Celtic Rangers debate. I went to a Dundee United game last year with one of my mates. So maybe I'll take Dundee United as my team.
Right, there you have it, Dundee United. Sorry about that. And obviously, I'm a former rugby player, so I was saying to you earlier, I reckon I could lend my hand in goals.
Yeah, no, I said before we were standing up, I said you got the build for it, so maybe I could teach you a few things.
Definitely, and then I'll take you down the rugby pitch.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Take people's heads
off. Perfect.
Oh, listen, thank you very much and all the best.
No worries, thank you.